Well, isn't that interesting? I'm always interested to hear from Archbishop Vigano. It's um, it's a weird conundrum for me because most of you watching here understand the demonic aspect of the Roman Catholic Church, and I specifically said the Roman Catholic Church. I'm referring to the Vatican and the challenges that we have with Pope Francis, which are very, very deep and dark. Yet you have this archbishop, but you would think that he probably knew a lot of this stuff before and just turned a blind eye. Is he tasked to say this now? Is he fed up with it? What's going on? I don't know, but it's very, very good that he's putting this out because we have to have an opportunity for everybody from every corner of the earth to come to this awakening of the way the globalist cabal, World Economic Forum is what he was referring to, works. So I think it's very important. Um, I'd like to thank you for being here. My name is Louis Herms, and this is SBG News and Views. And I have my great friend and co-host, Robert Imbrielli. And on screen, you see screwbiggov.com, and you can find Remember Your Oath there. Great website. And this is bringing people together and teaching them the ways that we can fight back in a legitimate way, make a difference, or just put your name in the hat and just say, hey, we support you. Doesn't require any money to do so. Freedominaction.net, which is a great place that harbors a lot of videos that's gotten stolen from the internet. The documentary, which we're very proud of here, is Cages. And that's a whole nother level than Sound of Freedom. I recommend everybody watch it. There's about 20 other films that you can access here, interviews that we're going to be talking about today that we're going to do, which are pretty fantastic. And of course, swag. If you want really cool stuff from Screwbig just go to there to screwbiggov.com. Please, while you're here, can you like, follow, and make sure you subscribe? And folks, I know it's a broken record, but if you're already subscribed, you may want to double check it because we're finding out that, again, people that are subscribed are being knocked off, boom, 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 over and over again. So just double check and make sure you're subscribed. And make sure you also go to Robert Imbrielli's Telegram, which is Renegade Media. Now, this is very important because the videos and clips that we show on here will actually post on Telegram channel Renegade Media. Very, very important to go there. And if you want to email Robert, because I ignore you often, go to robert@renegademedia.tv. Let's bring on Robert Imbrielli.
You think they're ready for me, Lewis? I don't know. It's been here all week talking about the news, talking about the crazy times we live in. How are you, my friend?
I'm good. I'm
I'm
still a little bit exhausted for the last week, but I'm coming around and got a lot of great things coming forward for us and we the people. So I'm actually pretty excited. This is me excited, by the way.
This is Lewis on his excited mode. Yes, I understand. It's sort of
Yeah.
like that for me too. We have a lot going on, and you were telling me a story just before we got started here about people who watch this show while they're having dinner, and it's like it's almost a replacement for them in many respects to the real news, and I can kind of see why. I was listening to some of the more traditional news the past couple of days just to peek in, see what's going on. You can't make heads or tails out of it sometimes. I mean, you get these it is all headline news. Lewis, it's all headline news, right? Remember CNN had that station, Headline News? It's all headline news. And you get
Yep.
these little 3-minute packages they put together. They give you 3 or 4 bullet points and they move on. It's like, how can you consider yourself informed?
Well, you can't. So there's I I think there's two reasons for the mainstream media, and it's sad to say. One is circus, and that's why they always deal with the headlines, right? They keep you busy. That's what bread and circus is about. And the other one is the propaganda machine to drive you in the direction that they need you to go. It's state-run media. It's clearer than it's ever been, and that's it. That's really the only two things that they focus on. How easy is it to run businesses when you take directions from the CIA and you only have to do two things. look for the news, whatever the news is out there, and making a salacious headline, make a big deal out of it, and make sure when we have our propaganda points, you put them out there so you can brainwash the public. Cool, got it. And you'll make millions, billions. Okay, I'm in. How easy is that? And that's really what's going on
Well,
today, and it's
then
sad.
then you may have to wonder too, are the big pharmaceutical companies directed to give these guys all the money they give them? Because where are the big pharma getting the money? They're getting it from the government. The government saying, okay, we're going to give it to you, but you need to give some of it over to CNN, MSNBC, Fox News, all the rest, right?
Well, they are. I don't know if you remember, but I profiled um, a piece that we did that CNN averages 460,000 viewers on their prime time channels, right?
Right.
But yet on average they are getting paid about $7 per viewer for a 30-second spot. Now, that is ridiculous. Ridiculous. The fact that anybody would spend that type of money um with such a small audience means it's cabal money that's flowing, and it's just money laundering. That's really all it is. It's just
Yeah.
a way to move money around today and make it look legitimate, because I've been in marketing for a long time. Nobody in the right mind would spend that money to get a message to an audience that is so small. Just wouldn't happen. There's no business worth its salt if they have a decent CFO that would ever do that.
Yeah.
So that's how you know it's all fake.
Hoi. Yeah. Well, it's good that we have this. It's good that people are responding to it. It's good that we have this great audience, and we respect each and every one of you. And we've seen your comments, and we appreciate you making sure you're following the channel, sharing this. Denise is one who shares it every day on Facebook, and Denise, we really appreciate you doing that, because we're reaching more and more people all the time with it. And we are getting away from sometimes just looking at the numbers, the metrics, right? Because they really don't tell the full story. And we know by talking to people in the street and people that Lewis has been meeting at these events, that our message is getting way, way, way beyond what it would appear to be if we just look at the numbers.
Everywhere I go, somebody tells me they're watching the news. They love it. It's changed their life. They actually make plans around watching the news. That's like a priority for them. Our audience is growing tremendously, but you're never going to see it in the numbers, folks. And Robert and I have to take a deep breath. I know you guys get frustrated also, but Robert and I just take a deep breath and like, who knows, black hats, white hats, whoever controls the numbers, the algorithms, it is what it is. All we know is the word's getting out. And I can tell you, because when I went to AmFest, people were coming in droves up to me and mentioning that they're watching the news. So we're going to just keep up the good work. Speaking of that, folks, if you're just listening, and I know a lot of people listen and don't watch, today may be a day you want to watch, because we're going to show you some images from the border, probably in the second half of this show.
Awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. All right. Shall we get into news, my friend?
Please do.
That's why they're here. They come here for the news. So let's talk about the news. There's a mysterious binder that seems to have been gone missing. This is from Revolver.news, a binder containing highly classified information related to the Russian election went missing at the end of Donald Trump's presidency, raising alarms among intelligence officials that some of the most closely guarded national security secrets from the U.S. and its allies could be exposed. Sources familiar with the matter told CNN. It seems more likely connected to a particular binder brimming with details that could potentially dismantle Obama and Hillary's Crossfire Hurricane operation. What are the odds that the regime was frantically searching for this crucial binder when they went into Mar-a-Lago? That is the question that we're looking at with this story.
Good question, isn't it? And if I'm right, even if President Trump had it, I think he legally could have had taken possession of that.
Well, if he's president, the Presidential Records Act, he is the only one that can classify or declassify anything,
Right.
apparently. So he would have the right legally to have this information. And this apparently is what They went they went in to raid him. This is from Mike Davis saying, "Fact check, 100% true on this. Those Crossfire Hurricane records are devastating."
Well, here's what I believe. I believe that President Trump had all of that stuff copied or replaced before they even came and got it. So when we hear they have it all, they do have it all, and they probably saw this coming from a mile away, and therefore I'm sure they have copies of everything, everything. But if the binder's missing, it you can go two ways. You can say, okay, maybe somebody grabbed it, and this is how they're going to use it to prosecute them, or the deep state did what they do, bleach bit style, and got rid of it. Here's why I don't think the deep state got rid of it. Because the deep state always needs to hold something over the head of the bad guys. They may bury it, but they certainly know where it is to uncover it in the future.
Right. They'll bury it until a time comes when they really need it, and then that becomes their trump card. They'll just pull it out at the appropriate time and use it, which is, what we're seeing here with the January 6th. I mean, we're 3 years hence, and people are still being arrested from this. They just won't give it up. And it's like they just won't, they won't stop. And these court cases that Trump's involved in now, same thing. Why didn't they bring them right after he left office? Why did they wait till full swing into the election to do it? They pull it out when they need it. Timing is everything with them.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well,
So,
then the deep state is deep. People need to realize it. Great example. Mike Johnson said he would release all 40,000 hours of the J6 tapes. How much is released right now?
nothing, almost nothing. I mean, next to nothing.
Yeah, and that's what, 3 weeks later now?
Yep. Oh, now the excuse was, oh, we have to blur out the faces of people. No, you don't.
No, you do
No,
not.
you don't.
It's just total BS.
Yeah.
It's a lie. They all lie.
First of all, if you're in a public place, you're allowed to be filmed legally. You have no right not to be filmed. So if I put a camera up and you're in a public space, you have a reasonable expectation that you're going to be filmed, or somebody's going to see you, right? Seeing you and filming you is kind of the same thing in the eyes of the law when it comes to that. If you were in your bedroom and I stuck a camera there, that's illegal, right? Because you have a reasonable expectation of privacy there. But out in the open, out in the public, no, you don't. So this idea of blurring, and how I edit video, I know how long it would take to do that. I mean, you're not going to see video. If they're going to do that, you're not going to see these videos for 10, 15 years. It's not going to happen. No, not going to happen. Yeah, so this is interesting. This Crossfire Hurricane thing. I mean, this would take down the other side of the deep state there, and I assume some Republicans are involved with that as well, because this was not just a small operation, was it? It didn't
Always.
It started under Bush.
What's that?
It started under Bush W.
I believe so.
Yeah.
But the Republicans, Paul Ryan, I believe, is involved.
Mm-hmm.
The Republicans are always involved in this stuff.
Yeah.
Always involved in this stuff, right? It's just, and it's disheartening, because the more I learn, the Republicans are the problem, not the Democrats. And people go, "What? How's that? What are you talking about?" No, you know who your enemy is. The Democrats will wear their red suit, their spiked beard, and their horns right in front of you, right? The Republicans that are slicing your neck from the back are wearing a beautiful white robe with angelic angel wings. That's just the way it works. So I believe your enemy that's closer to you and pretending to be your friend is a lot worse than the enemy that literally tells you what's going on.
Exactly. And we see that. That's the rhinos are really the problem, and Mitch McConnell is probably the greatest example right now. Of course, Lindsey Graham, and Lindsey Graham leans whichever way the wind blows. I mean, you don't know what the heck is up with him from day to day. But you see Mitch McConnell, good friends with Joe Biden, gives him anything he wants, anything that comes through. If Joe Biden wants it, he's signing on to it. Wait a minute, you're supposed to be the opposition, but there is no opposition. It's a uniparty. And I think a lot of people, come to me, "Oh, you're a Republican," blah, blah, blah. And it's like, that is so old. I said, give it up. Republican, Democrat, really? Does it make a difference anymore? Really? And they look at me like, "What do you mean?" I said, it's a uniparty. They all play for the same team. You tell me
Four,
who's the more corrupt, which side? They both are.
right, right. Four out of the top five highest, or how do I say it? The most are all considered red states.
Wow.
Arizona, Florida, Georgia, Texas. And you have California in there, and we know exactly what we get with California.
Yeah, California is totally taken over. There's there are very few Republicans in California, which is really sad. I mean, Republicans in power, right? The
Thank
people
you.
who are
Thank you
supposed to
for
be in power.
yeah, correcting
Yeah,
that. Exactly.
I think we are probably more red here than people realize. It's very hard to find those giant pockets of blue here in California, especially Southern California, especially. San
Hmm.
Francisco, I don't know. I haven't spent much time up there. I've only been there a couple of times and wasn't impressed, honestly.
I mean,
It just wasn't impressed. The Houthis. I heard a story, Lewis, that the Houthis, there's only about 2,000 people. It's a very small group. And that now the government, okay, well, here we go. So the Red Sea is now largely closed to traffic. That's 8.8 million billion BPD. I don't know what BPD stands for. Of daily oil transit barrels per day. 8.8 million barrels per day of daily oil transit and nearly 380 million tons of daily cargo transit. International shipping in the Red Sea and the vital Bab al Mandab Strait is grinding to a halt with tankers, container ships, and others types of commercial vessels rerouting around the Cape of Good Hope, which is all the way down around Africa, down to the south around Africa, to avoid missile and drone attacks from Yemen's Iran-backed Houthis. So, kind of interesting. On Monday, the Houthi rebels attacked two commercial ships in the Red Sea. At least seven major shipping companies, including Taiwanese container shipping line Evergreen, we know them, Belgium tanker Euronav, and yada yada, all have paused commercial vessel operations through the Red Sea that connects to Egypt's Suez Canal. Kind of interesting.
well, what I
So,
find interesting is Israel and Palestine, where they want to build a canal straight through the Gaza Strip to shortcut in there, which will draw money and it'll draw resources from the Suez Canal, and Israel will try to own that section right there. So that's interesting. So does that not correspond to that theory?
it really does, and if you think about this shipping, I think it was 8,000 nautical miles if they go through the Suez Canal, and it's almost double if they go around the Cape of Good Hope there around southern Africa, the southern part of Africa, come all the way down, come all the way back again. It's about double the miles. And that adds a tremendous amount of cost. These ships don't run on solar power. They run on diesel fuel, and that takes a lot of power. It takes a lot of fuel to run those things. So yeah, it makes a lot of sense that they'd want to cut a new swath through it. It's got to go right through Gaza, and I don't know. They're really trying to move them out of there. We see a lot of them being displaced now. It's and no sign of stopping. I think Netanyahu said, "No, we're not going to do a ceasefire. We're going to keep going until we complete this. Forget about the
Yeah.
international pressure. Forget about all of that stuff." Well, it's
Well,
interesting too because we have a lot of ships in the area. If you look at this graphic here, it shows you how many military ships we have, U.S. warships currently operating in the Red Sea. So we've got quite a few. On Monday, Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin said U.S. and allies, including U.K., Canada, France, and others, are creating a new naval task force to protect critical maritime shipping lanes. So they're going to bring in even more warships to go in that area to kind of protect the shipping. Well, then it's part of that story too. Well, it's too expensive to keep doing that. We need this
there
new
you
canal.
go.
You know,
Yep.
yeah,
So look at the Suez Canal gets attacked. It's only one way. It's not a two-way transport. Look at all the ships that we have. It's just too expensive. Oh, and look at the environmental impact that the ships have because they're all in the area. They're just completely setting it up
yeah.
for this new canal, and it's going to be, oh, by the way, this is really what a coincidence.
They're building the narrative is what they're doing, aren't they? It's funny that we're able to see it so far out. It's sort of interesting that you can kind of when you do connect the stories, because the stories are disconnected. You take this one in a vacuum, you don't see it as much, but then you take it with that other story that we played about 3 weeks ago now, with the lady talking about building that canal right through the Gaza Strip. Then all of a sudden you go, oh, okay, now there's reason here. So
So I'm just going to address something in chat again. Hobbit, we love you, but you're saying that we don't mention the 1871 transition to corporation. I think I bring it up like once a week, and I certainly bring it up with other conversations and other podcasters that I have. So I'm not quite sure. Maybe you're talking about other podcasters don't bring it up. So I just had a conversation while I was at the border with somebody of prominence, and I was explaining how we changed into a corporation from 1871 in order for the Rothschilds to take over the bills. So I just so you know, we do. Um,
we know it.
Anyways, what else we got, Robert?
We know it. Hey, Trump posts record high poll numbers now. This is kind of interesting too for December 17th. As of December 17th, former President Donald Trump, and I hate when they call him former President Donald Trump, leads
I know.
former UN Ambassador Nikki Haley and Florida Governor Ron DeSantis. So Trump's got 62.7, Haley's got 9.8, and DeSantis is dropping at 8.3. Only 1.5% chose someone else, and 6.2%, well, I guess they're smoking something because they're undecided.
I know.
How in the world could you be undecided at this point? Which side of the fence are
Yeah.
you on? Come on.
I saw another poll too that said the percentage of Trump's increases and the other people's decreases, and it was very, very interesting. Is some of them that increased? Those are never Trumpers. So they would move from. I'm sorry, the decrease from DeSantis helped Trump and helped Nikki Haley. So what was really interesting, though, I guarantee you those are just never Trumpers.
Yeah.
That's all that is,
Yep.
because it's a no brainer that the other whoever the other Republican participants are just absolutely worthless in this.
Vivek. He's not
And
running for president, by the way. He's in the
no,
race, but he's not running
he's
for
running
president.
for
He's running for
he's
VP.
that's exactly right. He's running for VP.
Yeah.
He's not running for president.
And he's
In
certainly
fact,
laying it out there.
he really needs to wipe the brown off his nose, because
Crazy.
his nose is so far up Trump's trunk. It is amazing.
But now I hear Trump's going to select a woman as VP.
Well, that would still fit the bill.
Yeah.
Swami would be okay.
What is he? 33, 34? He's a young guy. Yeah? He's not that
I
old.
don't,
Yeah.
he's very articulate. He's funny, blah blah blah. But he's got a very checkered past. In fact, he's against Big Pharma now, but he made a lot of his money on Big Pharma stocks, which is pretty interesting.
Yeah.
And part of the World Economic Forum. And he's caught at least a half a dozen times repeating exactly what Obama's speeches used to say. Not a fan.
No, he's an interesting character to watch, and there's a lot to uncover there because he was not a believer in January 6th either. He thought it was an insurrection, and then the videos started to come out, as he said in his speech. That then he started to change his mind on that. He started to see it differently. Who knows? Tucker Carlson changed. I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah, maybe they're all coming around,
I don't know. Coming around the mountain
or,
when they come, huh?
or maybe they slow play it and they're all a bunch of shills.
We have a useless Congress, and I think this is a good thing. Correct me if I'm
Thank you.
wrong, but
I agree with that. When I read the story, I was like, why would people complain about them not making laws?
So this is from Axios, the
Celebrating
118th
them not
Congress.
making laws.
The 118th Congress is on track to be one of the most unproductive in modern history. Yay! Just a couple of dozen laws on the books at the close of 2023, according to data from data analytics firm Quorum. Why it matters? Well, they call themselves lawmakers. They're not making laws. This is good. It's a product of not only divided partisan control of Washington, but infighting within the House Republican majority that has routinely ground legislative business to a halt. When you dig into the laws passed by Congress, the picture becomes even more bleak. The mass majority were uncontroversial bills that passed either by unanimous consent or with minimal opposition, including multiple measures to rename Veterans Affairs clinics and another to mint a coin commemorating the 250th anniversary of the Marine Corps. So I guess you could say, Lewis, they were doing pretty much nothing. I can't make what they crazy.
Yep, pretty much. There's nothing to complain about here. You don't want your your MK Ultra uh, um, lawmakers, as they call it. By the way, that's a spell casting on you. They're not supposed to be making laws all the time. Ay, Dios mío, as my wife says. This is a good thing. We don't want them to make laws.
We don't
What we
want.
want them to do is spend time eliminating laws, and then the judicial branch should enforce the few laws that are left on the books according to the Constitution. Oh, what a thought.
Laws don't get removed. We know that they don't remove them; they only add to them. And I've heard more than one time. There's so many laws on the books now. Every one of us is breaking laws we don't even know exist. And then you go to court and they say, well, ignorance is no defense. I'm like, well, wait a minute. I don't have a whole career to learn the laws. Tell me,
Nope.
tell me.
Nope. No
It's
thanks.
yeah, it's just craziness. And I think right now, if you look at what's really going on, is Biden not by the legislation going through Congress and the Senate, then goes to his desk. It's all executive orders. Bypass it all. It's as
Yep.
close to a regime, a dictator as you're going to get. I mean, how many executive orders has he written? I mean, it's every week. It seems like there's more of them.
Yeah, yeah. The good news is he seems to be renewing Trump's executive orders, which would indicate there is a CIC, which would be Trump. So it's all very interesting, folks. This is a war. Let's not call it an informational war anymore. Let's call it a disinformational war, because that's what it is on both sides. Are you annoyed with it? Are you annoyed that the black hats are putting out misinformation all the time? Are you annoyed that the white hats are putting out disinformation all the time? I think you should be. How about that? Let's coin it right here on SBG News and Views.
I like it. I think it's probably the most accurate depiction of what's going on, and every one of us is subject to putting out information that isn't 100% accurate because we're only as good as the information we receive, right? All of us are. Very few of
Yep.
us are on site seeing it with our own eyes, but even when we are, sometimes you don't really know what you're looking at. You see an event, but you don't know what's behind it, who's pulling the strings, and what the real motivations are. So we do the best we can. I think all of us are in that boat. And I encourage everyone to keep the eyes wide open, head up, eyes open, because we don't know what's around the next corner.
Yep. So
Yep.
true. So true.
Yep. I bring up Celine Dion, and this is the last one. We'll jump into the border stuff next. She's kind of interesting. I was in high school, and a buddy of mine came up to me and he says, "Hey, do you want to go see my cousin sing tonight?" And I said, "Who's your cousin?" "It's Celine Dion." And at the time, she was like 14 at the time, I think, and she was singing French folk music. So yeah, no thanks, right? So we look at Celine Dion, and you put that word out there, and a lot of people go, "Oh, this, that, and adrenochrome, and who knows, right? What she got into." An interesting story, because these kids begin pretty much as innocent, right? They're not into that when they're born. Her manager, 20 plus years older than her, married her as soon as she was legal age. And he was a really well established into the music industry already. So from
Oh,
there,
big time.
who knows, what she got into. So I don't necessarily go and say, well, this is a person who went into this. I don't know. I don't know the full story. I just know that, she is what she is. But there's a story now that came out in the Montreal newspaper saying that Celine's not going to be in Quebec this summer. Her sister, Claudette, who's older than her, she's 74, says that she is really, really, really not doing good. She said she has Spirit is fighting to return to the stage, but her sister said the disease is attacking her nervous system and may be more than a match for her will. A year ago, Dion canceled her scheduled tour and announced she had what's known as stiff person syndrome, which, by the way, is apparently a side effect of adrenochrome, and so we don't know which one it is. It's a progressive neurological disease that attacks the muscles and limits her mobility. She's working hard, but doesn't have the control over her muscles. She said, "What breaks my heart is that Celine's always been disciplined. She always worked hard, and this is going to defeat her. So we may not see her back on stage again. It may be game over for her career, sadly." So again, we don't know the full story here.
Yeah, well, there's another neurological disease also. It's called Kuru.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not saying there's something there, but it also includes in part of Kuru is also includes malnutrition, uh, nerve and neurological effects. I'm not saying it. Here's what I'll say. I believe that a large percentage of these entertainers were good people at one time. And I don't know how they got flipped. Well, I kind of do know how they got flipped, but the problem is when your ambition is bigger than your ethics and your integrity, I think that's what happens. So we've talked several times, and I spoke about this in Cages, the way the recruiting goes. But one of the ways is to drug you and put you in a compromised position. Well, if you don't publicly come out and fight that right away, now you're going down a bad road and you have to keep getting worse and worse and worse. So I think some of these people just give up after a while and they're like, well, I'm already doomed. I'm already going to hell. I might as well go all in and become a really, really bad person,
Yeah.
right? And they start doing bad things behind the scene. And some of them are so ambitious, they do it intentionally, right? But I believe a lot of it comes to the fact when they put their ambition in front of their integrity. It just they want fame so much or want that money so much that they start looking elsewhere. And it's really sad. And I honestly think the opposite happened to Jennifer Hudson. In my belief, Jennifer Hudson is and was a good person, and it's possible. I know it was, I believe it was her brother and her, and then President Trump offered to put her up in Trump Towers just to protect her for the time being. I don't know what happened to her after that. I don't know if she's still good or went bad or whatever, but they're put in some serious, serious situations. So not an excuse for them at all, folks. I'm just trying to give you the chronology of events that happened to get them to this point.
Yeah, and I think one of the point here, more than anything, Lewis, too, is when we look at people, we tend to judge them black or white. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's like they're bad. Well, how do you know they're bad? Well, they did one thing that was bad. So they're all bad. No, not necessarily. Some people make mistakes, and some people, you look at a Celine Dion, maybe got indoctrinated into that world. She was very, very young. She was on stage when she was 5, just a similar story to Michael Jackson, right? And on stage, and who knows how they were handled. They didn't go through the normal school system. They didn't go through a normal upbringing. When you're in show business, who knows? And they get indoctrinated into that world. And you say, well, they're bad people. They're bad people. They may have turned out bad. They may have done a lot of bad things. They didn't start that way, and you kind of got to look at the whole picture. And sadly, in a lot of these, like especially the Michael Jackson case, we don't know a lot. What the media
Right.
told us
Right,
is
right.
not the fact, is not true.
Yeah. Carol actually made a good point, and I forgot to bring this up. Thank you, Carol. Celine's, I don't know if you've seen it before,
Yeah, I did see it.
just blew me away.
Yep.
So the question is, how did she get there? It's like some people bail out. If you look at singers that seem like they're up and coming, and the next thing you know, they're really not. Amy Grant would be one.
Mm-hmm.
Olivia Newton-John would be another one, right? And they're just next thing you know, they're just not doing it, and they're young too.
Yeah.
So maybe they decide not to take the deal. It's very, very possible. And when people say that everything single celebrity that ever existed is bad. No, there's a lot of them that have pushed back. I do actually think there's two sides of Hollywood, by the way. I think there's the deep, dark, disgusting side of Hollywood, and then there's these outside studios that have been fighting against them for a long time. Smaller subset for sure, but I wouldn't put every single celebrity into that group. I think some have pushed back from Hollywood, and you can kind of tell which ones push back because they come after them and do everything they can to give them a bad name, i.e., and I'm not saying they're all good, but maybe i.e. Roseanne and Mel Gibson. Hollywood went after them pretty hard.
Should have been in
Yeah,
jail. He should have gone to jail for life for
yeah.
malpractice. Well, it took his license away, and they gave him like 4 years on a fine. It was like nothing.
I think Mike's still alive though.
I've seen pictures, and I would agree with you. I think he is. Yeah, I think he's in
Yeah.
hiding.
God, it's all weird.
Yeah.
It's so interesting.
Someday, Mr. Lewis, we will find out
Yeah.
what it all looks like. Hey, who's this svelte guy? Looking at this jacket, looks so good.
Who is that? Oh, and by the way, it has been pouring rain here for 2 days. Is it raining near you?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it's flooding all over the place, and this is sunny Southern California. Anyways, the jacket comes in real handy in this weather. Let me tell you, it's rain proof. It's got a beautiful embroider on it that says screwbiggub.com or screwbiggub, sorry, in two colors. Boom, with a beautiful golden screw on there. You know what screw means? That's right. Just they're just taking the screws to you. Nothing bad.
We need
Anyways,
a
here's
bigger
picture.
picture of the logo.
I know we do. Anyways, it's fun, it's warm, it's very high quality, guys. I think you'd be very happy to have one. Plus, there's a lot of other cool swag on there, and it'll also give you access to the Remember Your Oath swag, which, by the way, we are now printing, getting it out right away. The brand new Remember Your Oath logo and back for shirts and sweatshirts, and they look amazing. And again, those are quality, and those are sold at cost because we just want you to get the word out to rememberyouroath.com.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Love my jacket, and got the sweatshirts now, so I'm ready. Bring on the cold weather. It has been raining here too, and we're expecting some big rain in the next couple of days. So, that time of year. It's
There
rainy
you go.
season. A little early, but it's coming. All right. Turn our attention to the south, shall we? Not that south, the other south.
Yeah, so there's a lot going on, and we promised to bring it to you. So I was lucky enough to get an invite to the border, and that was from Jonathan Alexander from livebordernews.com, I think it is. Anyways, and I went there with a few other people. Probably be going there again shortly, or more of an extended visit. But let's start with this video because this is about Floyd Bennett Field being overrun with illegals, and this is I think this is Sleva speaking, who used to be, and I don't know if he's separated from the Angels or not. I know there's a lot of drama behind that, but he still wears the red hat. But let's watch this.
Here we are. We got the four tents behind us. You got all the migrants behind us. It won't let us get any closer. We've gone all throughout Marine Park in the area where the illegal aliens are going and they're begging. They're going door to door. They're outside of King's Plaza. They're outside of Walgreens, 7-Eleven, Speedway, begging, begging, begging. They get enough back here. They get food, clothes. We provide them with everything. We don't even provide our own homeless and emotionally disturbed and veterans. So we have got to come up with a plan, and we are working on it, so that by January 1st, we're going to force this issue. This begging has got to stop. They should not be permitted to beg. The city is not disciplining them. There's no structure there, no rules or regulations. And we're going to force the city to do their job. Stay tuned.
So the reason why we show that video and it's so important because we're trying to demonstrate you the momentum of we the people are starting to figure out that they're not waiting on any government official to do the job. We the people are taking it to them and are going to do it ourselves. So I'm excited to see what he comes up with January 1st. Maybe we'll partner with them if it's legit. But what we'll do is right now, if I were you guys, mark the timestamp on this video right this second. because we're going to go through a short synopsis of explaining the border game, and it is a game. Start now. Boop. All right. So this is from the AP in Washington. It says, amid grueling negotiations, the contours of a bipartisan border security and immigration deal are beginning to take shape. Okay. So they're working on a bipartisan immigration bill. It's all BS. It's all smoke and mirrors. Guys, we've known about this forever. They only start working on something when we, the people, put enough pressure on them and they get afraid of we, the people. So fast forward, it says, so this is emerging even as Congress leaves town, having failed to publicly unveil any details of the package that's central to unlocking stalled aid for Ukraine. How would they connect Ukraine to this? Isn't it interesting? We're going to do a border deal and somehow we're going to connect Ukraine to this. Money laundering. Talks between the White House and key senators have not veered widely from three main areas of discussion: toughening asylum protocols for migrants arriving at the U.S.-Mexico border, bolstering border enforcement with more personnel and high-tech systems, and deterring migrants from making the journey in the first place. BS, BS, and BS. I'll tackle the second one. It says bolstering border enforcement. I was at the border, spent a day at the border, and I can tell you, rarely did we see a border patrol. You know where I saw a lot of them? I saw a lot of them parked down the road about 20 miles where there was no border issues at all, just hanging out talking. And then we saw a ton at a border parking facility also. Interesting. By the way, it was packed with border patrol. Go figure. More BS. So what happens, guys, is the heat is on from we the people. Therefore, the powers that be pretend like they are trying to stop the border influx. This is the game. They wait until the heat from we the people is just too much, and then they act. They being the governors and, of course, the White House and all politicians, right? Let's show picture number one. So in California, what happens is the migrants, the illegals, they bull rush the border in just a couple spots, and it overwhelms the border patrol in these places where there is no wall. That would be San Ysidro and Yacumba Hot Springs, or for a white person like me, Jacumba Hot Springs. Let's show them picture number two. So what they did is the Border Patrol then built a new facility. This is in Jacumba Hot Springs for illegals that give them a hot and a cot. Oh, lucky them. And their nice Red Cross blankets while they wait to get what? To be processed and bused to another state. Not deported, but supported. This is the game. The Border Patrol can deport, but they don't. They support. Let's go back to number one again. So let's skip over to Texas. There's Eagle Pass. Eagle Pass is famous, right? Oh, it's all over the news. Eagle Pass is a mess. But many believe Governor Greg Abbott is actually doing a great job. He's doing great work. It's a lie. And it's all optics. Nothing was done for years. And finally, again, get this, after the people were screaming at him, he organized and got Texas to fund finishing the border wall. Big press conference. Oh, he is breaking his arm, patting himself on the back. Then guess what? Nothing. Nothing. Then he gets more heat and shuts down a bridge. Then nothing. Then he engages the police, and now, let's go to number three. You know what he does? He signs a security measure. The great Greg Abbott signs a security measure that gives authority to local police to arrest and deport illegals. Sounds great, right? Huh. Let me read his quote. Abbott says, 4 years ago, the United States had the fewest illegal border crossings in decades, said Governor Abbott. It was because of 4 policies put in place by the Trump administration that led to such a low number of illegal crossings. President Biden has eliminated all of those policies and done nothing to halt illegal immigration. President Biden's deliberate inaction has left Texas to fend for itself. Today, 3 years later, I will sign 3 laws to better protect Texas and America from President. These laws will help stop the tidal wave of illegal entry into Texas, add additional funding to build more border wall, and crack down on human smuggling. Oh, Greg Abbott, you're so amazing. It's fantastic. You're doing such a phenomenal job. That's what you would think, right? Pause. He knew this was happening within a month of Biden taking office. Yet he waits 3 years to act. But here's the kicker. And this is what we need to pay attention to. This security measure that they're vaunting as amazing doesn't go into effect until March 2024. But they announced it, made a big deal out of it. Why do they do this? These are dog whistles. These deep state actors, just like Obama, always let the plan out ahead of time so the enemy, which is their buddies, can readjust their tactics. This is why you always see a surge in a different part of the border, because they're being tipped off ahead of time. So they make these big press conferences, they make a big deal, they put everybody right in this one place. We're going to go take this down. They announce it. Next week, guess what we're going to do? That's a dog whistle to the cartel. Readjust your tactics, go to another border. Not one less person comes through the border. They're just readjusted to what border they go to. Pay attention, guys. This is a big game. This is a big game, yet the lying politicians will always act like they're shocked. So the Texas Patriots are pissed, and Abbott just barely now does this to save his skin. He's not monitoring the border. He's monitoring the reaction of the people. And therefore, go back to number one, he does this. So let's move to Arizona. Now we have a fake governor in Katie Hobbs in Arizona. She made a big deal about doing something similar. You know what she did? She sent 2,000 National Guard to the border. Pretty impressive, right? Especially for a Democrat. Well, I interviewed a Border Patrol agent myself with a couple others in the dead of night. Guess what? He was asked not to be revealed, but you know what he said? He said it's all BS. Yes, he did. He said the National Guard are washing and maintaining vehicles. They're coddling the immigrants and helping them get processed and put on buses quicker. This just gives more incentive for more people to cross the border. None of the National Guard are on the border. Zip, zero, zilch, zippo, the big goose egg. Well, maybe like 3 or 4 here and there. Give me a break. It's all BS. The Border Patrol are barely on the border. Now, Lukeville is completely overrun right now. We were, as you can see on the map, we were southeast of Lukeville in some place called Sassabee. We drove, thanks to Jonathan Alexander, Live Border News, we drove up and down for miles and miles, right? So let me throw up a few pictures and videos to tell the story. Let's go to number 4. Wow, what does that look like? Well, if you look close, there's actually cuts along the bottom where that piece was cut out. But you know what the contractors and Border Patrol will tell you it's for? That's because I think it's number 5, Robert. You can just go in, you can go in order on these. Right there, see the cuts? They'll tell you that they're doing irrigation work on the other side of the border. Okay. But then why is there over a dozen of these cuts within just a few miles, all approximately 16 feet wide? Think about it, guys. By the way, there's rust on top. They've been cut out for a long time, many of them. This has zero to do with irrigation, but folks, I think that one could have been like 120 feet wide. We found one of them that was 120 feet wide. These are massive open holes in the border. Now think about this. Why on earth would you need to cut This one is existing, by the way. They just never put it in. But why would you have to cut holes in the border more than once? Common sense would say, cut out a 16 fixed section, monitor that part of the wall, go ahead and make sure that nobody comes through, fix it, and then you go fix another part. You don't cut out a dozen and let them sit there for weeks and months upon time. It's all BS. Now, this right here that you see on your screen, this is actually a monument of a treaty, I believe, signed between the U.S. and Mexico. The reason why I'm showing this, because this is very interesting. Most people don't know this. This monument was actually installed on the border itself. The wall, which I'm taking a picture through the wall to see that, is about 5 feet away. This is why. The wall is intentionally put approximately 5 feet on our side, right, to protect us, so there's no dispute with Mexico. In addition to that, legally, if they even pass that monument, if they come within 5 feet of the wall. We don't. I know that would be inhumane, but there's a lot we can do. We can electrify that fence if we wanted to, because guess what? It's not on the border. It's on our side of the border, about 5 feet in. These are very, very, very important things to know. All right. What's next, Robert? This is interesting, folks. This is another one. I think this is approximately 16 feet, again, wide. This is a gate. Ask yourself, folks, why would there be a gate on the border between U.S. and Mexico? Sure, you can fit a tank through there. You can do a lot of stuff. So the only thing I could think of is maybe if there was some dispute between U.S. and Mexico, we wanted a real quick way to get our equipment through. Other than that, I have no idea why they would put a gate there. It's just ridiculous. We'll go to the next picture.
No more pictures. Time for a video.
Oh, I have. Okay. Let's go for the video. So they have several camps out there. If you notice, oh, there's another gap in the border. Go figure. That will stop it. So right here along the border, these are their camping spots. And what happens is currently the illegals will hang out in these camping spots for sometimes 3-4 days, just waiting and waiting for Border Patrol to pick them up, bring them to a processing center, and then get bussed out. They have no fear of the Border Patrol. They're waiting for a ride. They're actually waiting for a ride on the border. All right, next picture.
Got a cut.
Uh-oh, we're sideways on this one. Well, that's not good. Is there any way to flip it or no?
That's all there is on that one, is just that little piece.
Oh, okay. That's fine. That's number 10. Just show that again. I don't know if you guys, everybody just turn your head sideways and I'll explain what's going on here.
See if I can flip it for you. So you don't have to do that, folks.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Let's see what we got here. I can flip it. Okay, now I'm gonna make it a little smaller. Make it fit in the frame.
No worries. I'll stall for time. So Andy mentioned in chat that it looks like the Masonic symbol was the treaty that was signed and put on the border. Yes, thank you for picking that out. It was an obelisk. Go figure. Aye. Okay, so what you're looking at here, folks, is see how the border wall's cut out? Another 16 feet of it. What I showed closely is, you know what that is right there? That's the border wall cut and laying on the ground on our side. Isn't that wonderful? But they're just doing irrigation work. That's what they're doing. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
All right. What else do we have? I think we have. Oh, so this is good. So here's your fighting age males. We've tons, and there's a bunch of groups like this actually. That day we saw hundreds of people. I think in 3 or 4 different sections.
Right. But how many here? Right here.
People.
Those 2 days
that
waiting
guy at least spoke
for
Border
Patrol.
Some of them did.
Waiting
Most of them
for
were
Border
saying they're
Patrol
from Guatemala.
to pick
Now
you
it's
up.
very interesting.
Right.
I believe they're told to say
Border
they're from
Patrol?
a certain place.
Is that what you're
because it
waiting
was
for?
very
So 2 days here?
consistent.
Dos?
But when you ask special questions, every once in a while they kind of change their story. Very interesting. On this
Hi,
side,
ladies.
this
You
is
okay?
about the only women that we saw.
good?
There's just a
You good?
few women there, and that's about it.
Who's that?
So, did you see that guy wave right there in the pink? Wave to somebody coming on. Often, we were keeping a lookout, and we were concerned because you cannot trust the people that are in those groups. In fact, we were very heavily armed, and next time we'll be even more armed. And you can't trust the people. Some people always had a hand hidden, which was a concern. So we always had eyes on them. We know 100% that cartel embeds themselves in these groups also. In fact, I believe that may be one of the next videos we're going to show. Let's go to the next one. All right. I think we're supposed to start this later, but we'll go on from here. So these are a bunch more, right? Again, most of them said they're from Guatemala. We interviewed a bunch of them. Some spoke English, and many did not. And then we met some guys from Chad and Sudan, and we actually met a guy that claims that he was actually part of the military translation group for the U.S. during wartime activity, which is interesting because we actually have a law that gives them immunity here in this country and housing, and unfortunately, there's a few of the women I was talking about. Unfortunately, we've been rescinding on that agreement. Therefore, now they're trying to come over the border here. Think about this real quick. If you come from Chad, for example, they have to raise the money to fly into Turkey. From Turkey, they fly into to El Salvador. No, I believe Colombia first. And then they go to El Salvador, Nicaragua, and then from there they go to Mexico and they cross the border. What you'll notice in a lot of these pictures, these people are very well clothed, very nice shoes, and very, very clean. They don't look like they've been trekking through the desert very much, do they? You're going to notice this consistently. I'm convinced by just a few questions we asked, because you get them to stumble over their conversations. I believe these people are being paid to come here. And that, not all of them, but a good portion, and that is a major concern. What else do we have? Okay, so here, this is the cartel. This is on the Mexican side of the border. All right, that guy, as soon as I started filming, the guy in the upper left-hand corner in the white flipped and turned around. The other two guys turned, and up above them, it appeared there were snipers actually on there. And we were always on the lookout. There was a couple of times that we jumped back in our vehicles really quick because we saw them hiding in the grass or hiding on the hill. This cat on the bottom that you just barely saw, he actually had the balls. He was filming us and then filmed me, and I decided to film him. And then he was taking our license plates. He actually came up to try to steal one of the vehicles first, but we noticed, that's right, come over to our side to steal a vehicle. I'm serious. Now, all he would have to do is drive it over to the side, and there's nothing that Border Patrol, by the way, which is nowhere to be found virtually, there's nothing that they could do about it anyways. These guys are blatant. He was so ballsy, finally, when I started to film him, he walked on our side of a border right behind one of our guys that wasn't paying attention, but she got scolded for it, walked right behind one of our guys that wasn't paying attention between him and one of our vehicles. And then he walked over and looked like he's giving directions to people. There's about 100 of them at that time that have already crossed the border. So he freely walks back and forth across the border, making sure that his contraband probably gets picked up, because, as Jonathan will tell you, they do not get paid unless they get picked up by the Border Patrol. Because they know as soon as the Border Patrol picks them up, they're good to go, they're getting processed, and then those cartel guys will get paid. This is deep stuff and real. What's up next, Robert? So this is a facility that many people don't know about, and it's on the way home. This is a border patrol facility that actually, this is where we interviewed a guy. He didn't want to be. He asked us to take him off camera, and he was explaining exactly what's going on and about the National Guard not doing anything. It's really really crazy. So they're about 200 to 300 yards behind there is an actual railroad track. So we asked him about this because we were told that 20,000 immigrants took a train there, hopped off the train, and were processed right there, coming right from Mexico. You know what the guys told us? He says, "Oh no, that railroad track goes to California." Okay. So me and a gentleman named Ian decided to do digging since we had a nice long ride home, and we tracked that railroad track right into a Tucson changing station. And guess what? One of the tracks comes straight across Nogales and into Mexico right there. So he lied to us. Or give him the benefit of the doubt. Maybe he just didn't know, but he did say he worked there over a dozen years. So I have a feeling he knew. So this is the type of stuff's going on. He's very eloquent in his speak. I really think he saw us filming outside of there. He drove his vehicle up, and I believe he decided he was the one positioned because he's probably very eloquent, good looking guy, very nice. I'm really feeling that this is what they're doing. They're tasking people to come talk to us and give us misinformation. Like they're doing irrigation on the Mexican side of the border. Come on, man. What else do we have?
Oh, it's registered as Border Patrol? Okay. And you have a train track that backs right up to your facility?
Right after this, he asked us not to film us. And so we didn't. But he did give us some really good information. He is the one that said the National Guard is doing zip. But most of the stuff he told us that was relevant, he told us off.
So we were
recorded.
just citizens, concerned citizens, if you will.
It is what it is.
And we were told, the word is, that immigrants were brought in on this train, crossed the border, and stopped here, let off here.
So these tracks run from California.
Hear him say California?
So they don't go across the border to Mexico.
So it's just not.
There you go. Is that the last one, Robert?
Yep.
So we have a lot more that's going to be coming, guys. We just wanted to show you what the hell is going on at the border. And by the way, this was a really mild day. This is a mild day. There wasn't even havoc. Over the hill, though, we heard there was a lot of stuff going on. But due to some of the people that we had with us, Jonathan made a smart decision, and we weren't as armed as we wanted to be, so we decided not to go where there was. Next time, I'm sure we will. But just want you guys to know what the truth is on the border right now as we speak.
Jonathan is in our chat room, and he confirmed that guy lied.
Yep, he did lie.
Yep. Good work, Jonathan. Thank you for taking care of Lewis and being careful down there at that border. Crazy stuff.
Yep, very, very important to get the information out there.
Yeah, because the media is not covering it, and you wonder, it's like, oh, is it as bad as they say? Are they just lying to us? You know, what's the real deal? And then you start to see, you know, people like you going down there with your own camera and you're filming it. This is not somebody else's video. This is your video that you're putting out there. There it is, folks, right in front of you.
Yeah. So the reality is the media will cover a press conference where Abbott makes a big deal about something that is untrue, that he's reacting because we, the people, are putting his back against the wall, and they still have 3 months before it will take effect.
March 5th,
and we have to understand what we're dealing with. We're dealing with a deep state apparatus that has been lying to us forever until we, the people. But what we prove again, guys, and I got to say this over and over. Every time the people stand up in force, these bitches back down. And I'm talking about sheriffs, judges, a board of supervisors. We have to come in force. And if they feel like we're weak, they keep pushing against us. When they know we're strong, they back down or they do what we want or they get the heck out. We'd have school boards that just said, I can't take it anymore, and they all quit. And if you notice all across the country, there's governors, senators, representatives that are quitting. It's because we're pushing their buttons. So keep up the good work.
Absolutely. Let's talk about pets.
I love pets. I have awesome pets. Miss my pets for the few days we come. We're away. We're actually, I don't know, a week, whatever. I travel so much. Anyways, this is just go to sbgpets.com, guys. I'm telling you, the difference I'm seeing in my pets is incredible. You know, I do not promote anything unless it's been vetted. And I can tell you, I have a husky just from eating the good food and the mushrooms they supply. I have a dog. I really don't know how he's still alive. He's over 17. He was very, very sick, and he's doing really well right now. And then I have another big dog that's doing phenomenal, has so much energy. And then Robert has a cat with an amazing story also. Guys, I'm just saying, this company is very ethical, and they're patriots. I couldn't ask for anything more from this company. So go support them and supports us at sbgpets.com.
Yes, I have a bone to pick with you about that cat.
Uh-oh. Talk to me. What happened?
He's become so healthy. Now he's back to hunting like crazy. Every night he's bringing in a mouse. I don't know where he's getting them from. Every single night there's a mouse. Last night was a gopher. Yeah, he's back to his younger years because he had pretty much stopped hunting. But now with this food, he's just completely rejuvenated. It's kind of freaky to see. It's like, are you the same cat? Are you a walk-in? What's the deal here? Very different.
Yeah.
And it's only been about a month that he's been on using this pet food.
Well, it's interesting you'd say that because our husky used to run away all the time because he's just a runner. Every time we let him out, he would run, right? Mm-hmm. And then he hasn't done it for a long time. And then just again today and last week and before that, he's running away again. But when I come home, he's got so much energy. He's jumping up and down and staying high, right?
Wow.
I think he's got to be 8, 9 years old himself too. So yeah, it does wonders. But you guys have to understand the side effect is a healthy, happy, energetic animal. So be careful of that.
And the fur is so much different too. It's so much softer now. It's I've noticed a big difference there. It was getting a little, wiry because he's getting a little older now, and it's like, wow, what a big difference it makes to give them the correct food. And I thought I was doing the right thing, giving him raw chicken liver every morning, and only organic kibble, and we spent a lot of money. Where's the most expensive kibble you got? Yeah, that's the one we want. We were doing that, and this food is not that expensive, which is the other benefit here. It doesn't feel like it's the highest priced stuff on the market. It certainly isn't, and it works. So sbgpets.com, friends, if you want to take care of your little furry buddies, that's the place to go and learn more about it. The really good stuff. Bruce has a big story about that too to share, so we're waiting for him. Speaking of Bruce, Bruce won't be with us tomorrow. He's got a conflicting appointment, but Lewis and I will be here tomorrow. We'll do a little unraveling of the news together and send you off for a great Christmas. And then next week, Lewis has got some special stuff happening. Lewis, tell us a little bit about what you got planned.
Yeah, guys. So I'm going to try to put together 4 interviews for you. So next week, you're going to have some amazing interviews on Tuesday through Friday. Already confirmed Kathy O'Brien. Wow. Already confirmed Mark Atwood. Phenomenal. And working on one that may be a big, huge disclosure, which is very cool. And working on another big, huge interview, which will let you know. Hopefully I can nail these down before tomorrow. And I can let you know. All I can tell you is next week is a big week. So we'll be off on Christmas Day, the 25th. But the 26th, 27th, 28th, and 29th, we're going to put up some good interviews of some really, really people I think you're gonna like to hear from.
Outstanding. Can't wait. All right. What's going on with Hillary?
Hillary. Love Hillary. Well, she's trying to intimidate President Trump.
Good luck with that, huh?
Do we have a talent? It's on. Now you better get your stank asses up out of here before I cause a nuclear holocaust up in here, fool.
Some people have a lot of time on their hands to do these kind of videos. Crazy, crazy stuff, but fun. Always fun to end with a little chuckle, a little laugh in the day, right?
I agree.
Yep.
I agree.
Yep. All righty.
So I'm off to have dinner with a politician right now. So we'll see how that goes. My goal now is it's so funny. I spend my time waking them up. If they're good people, good guys, I'm finding more and more politicians are just freaking clueless, especially local. They just don't know how deep and how dark it really is. You should see their eyes. But you have to acclimate them to the truth. I can't just truth barf on them. But
Right.
when I start showing some evidence, and I always bring the heat, it's pretty funny to watch them squirm.
You have to give us a full report tomorrow on how that goes. That's interesting. But
Yep,
you can
we'll see.
imagine. I mean, the politician is a very unique personality type, and they don't necessarily go in there because they know all the ins and outs of the laws and everything that's going on. It's really not what it is. It's really an ego stroke more than it is anything. I find when I meet these people, it's all about them and put the spotlight on me. Put the spotlight back on me. No, put the spotlight back on me now. And that's the way they go through life, and they don't see anything else. So it's a very unique personality. I could never do it. Don't ask. Not going to happen. It's not my personality at all. Yeah.
But the truth is, if they're doing their job, you shouldn't see them very often.
Correct.
Well, let me rephrase that. If the government is run the way the government's supposed to, you shouldn't see that very often.
Right. They should just be doing their job and being quiet about it. But they know the more that they're in the public eye, they're like sports figures. The more the endorsements are there, the more the money flows. And, you see them with the $200,000 a year salary worth $10, $15, $20 million after a few years in Congress. It's crazy. But the money does flow, and they have to stand out like that.
Yep. It's ridiculous.
Yep.
Well, we're going to fix it all, folks, but we the people have to fix it. They're not going to.
We do, and we are, and thank all the people here in our audience. You guys are not slackers. You guys are actually getting stuff done, and we appreciate you sharing the show and sharing it with your friends and followers. And also, your comments are real important. So if you are watching the replay, go ahead and comment, because we do go through the comments and read them, and it helps us to design a better show and helps us be better. You guys hold the bar pretty high for us, and that's cool. And we want to step up to that as much as we possibly can. So we thank you for that.
Yep. Agreed.
Yep. All right.
All right, folks. We'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you
Love
so much, everyone. God bless everyone, and we'll see you tomorrow.